keep winning, winning. I'ma keep winning, winning. Ooh. I'ma keep winning, winning. You can try to save yourself, but you only go.
What's going on, guys? Jay came back from another video, and today I'm going to be going over the biggest winners from day 3 of the NFL Combine. We had receivers, running backs, quarterbacks go. But before we get into it, please make sure to like the video, comment down below anything you agree or disagree with that I talk about in this video, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for future NFL content. Make sure to keep up with all the stuff I'm going to be putting out in the Combine, free agency, stuff like that. So please make sure to subscribe to the channel to be able to follow along with all that. All right, so the first guy that I believe was the biggest winner of the day 3 of the NFL draft was Amarion Hampton. Before this, he was kind of seen as a second round pick. Now I definitely do see him in the first round. He kind of had a lot of, hype kind of building up over the last couple of weeks from originally him being a second round pick, and some people were kind of scared to mock him into the second round. We've seen Daniel Jeremiah mock him all the way up to number 12 to the Cowboys. Or him and Mel Kiper were actually able to do that. And after his performance today with the receiving drills and being able to show his footwork and his route running to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield with his crazy huge size that he has, I think now he's going to be moving into the first round. I think even he has a ceiling of a top 10 pick. If Ashton Jeanty ends up going to somebody like the Raiders at 6, I could definitely see the Bears pulling the trigger on him and taking him in the top 10 at number 10. I could also see some other teams, such as like the Cowboys, taking him at 12. And then maybe if he's still there in the 20s, I definitely do see like the Denver Broncos taking him at 20. We're starting to get reports from the combine that a lot of teams and some scouts even have Amarion Hampton rated over Ashton Jeanty, which is definitely a big thing because before this and all this, Ashton Jeanty was seen kind of as that number one running back up way above everyone else. But now Amarion Hampton's kind of been able to cut the gap from the combine and from the last couple of weeks from everybody just going back and looking at his film. If you look at his combine day, since he's such a big athlete and a big running back, with him being able to put up these numbers are crazy and being able to build his stock. So his vertical is 38 inches. He ran a 4.4, he ran a 4.4640. His broad jump was a 10.10, and that was very similar to Shamar Stewart. And Shamar Stewart jumped a 10.11. So with him being able to show off his athletic skills throughout this combine and today, I think really what put him over was not only him being able to run with some of the fastest running backs, because one of the fastest running back groups that we've seen ever. Him being able to go out and catch the ball in the backfield and just see how smooth he was in a lot of the drills definitely put him up there and just kind of reassured what everybody was seeing in the film room and just kind of gave everybody a little bit of a safety that he is this good, he is this smooth, he is this good of a running back with his size and speed combination. And I think that's what's really going to make him rise and go up a lot of people's boards and kind of keep him where he's starting to be at with Mel Kiper and Daniel Jeremiah. A lot of people are going to start following along and have him guaranteed in the first round, and some might even have him in the top 15 and the top 10. So the second guy that I think was one of the biggest risers from the combine was Quinshon Judkins. Before the combine, he was kind of seen as a late second round pick, and now he's an early second round pick, in my opinion, after his performance. And I do think that he could even go into the first round, into the early 20s, maybe to a team like the Chargers, the Broncos, somewhere around then. He had a 38.5 inch vertical. He ran a 4.48, and his broad jump was 11 inches. So even with some of those, he was able to outperform Amarion Hampton. And this running back class is very weird because a lot of them could end up going very early in the first round. We could see 3 to 4 running backs taken in the first round, or since it's such a stacked and good class, this could cause a lot of the running backs to fall in the draft. And since a lot of these guys are so good and it's such a deep class, some teams are going to look at it and say, why would I waste a first round pick on a running back? And maybe I'll just take another need that I need since my team is probably going to need a lot of needs. And I'll wait until the third or fourth round to be able to get a better running back that's not going to be that far off since it's such a stacked class. But Quinshon Judkins came out. He ran a great 40. He has great size. He was able to produce at Ohio State. Him and TreVeyon Henderson were a great combination there, and he was kind of able to go out and shine on his own. Him and TreVeyon Henderson were kind of just 1 and 2 at the time at Ohio State the last year once he transferred into there. But at the combine, he was kind of able to go out show out his own skills and be able to show out who he is as a player. And the report is they did very well in interviews, and he's able to kind of go up, and he's going to rise up some boards. And he kind of still seen as that second round pick, but I could see a team maybe if Hampton and Genty are both off the boards, maybe Judkins could be a number three. Once you get past Hampton and Judkins or Genty, it kind of just depends how teams are seeing them because the number three running back in this class is going to be different for a lot of people. Some people might have Trayvon Henderson. Some people might have Judkins. Some people might have Caleb Johnson from Iowa. Teams like that. And a lot of teams are just going to have different rankings on these running backs and at the who's going to be the number three overall running back off the board. So maybe like one team that has Judkins number three isn't going to be the same team and it's going to have different views that might have Trayvon Henderson number three running back in this class. So it really just depends on the type of teams and who is going to be picking in that late first round and the positional value. And if some teams are going to end up waiting to be able to take a running back in this class. But I think Judkins came out and he performed he showed it off his athleticism, showed that he could be a lead single back on an NFL team. And I think some team is going to take a chance on him in the early second. Maybe like the Raiders, if they end up passing on Genty in the first round, they could come back in the early second round and take Judkins. Or some team might even take a chance on him in the late first. Third biggest winner in the NFL Combine was Bashan Tutton, and I think he was more of a fifth round guy. This is one of the running backs that kind of showed out that was originally in the later rounds and with such a deep running back class. He really didn't get talked about too much. Now after his performance, I think he moved into the fourth round, and I think even a team could even take a chance on him in the third round, rising up some boards. He was an athletic freak today. He's definitely a huge speed back, and he was able to show that off. His vertical was 40.5 inches. That's one of the highest verticals of all the running backs. In his 40, he ran a 4.32. That was one of the highest running back 40s out of all of them, and he ran a broad jump at 10.10. Now you see this, he doesn't really have the big body explosiveness that you might want to see, but he's a home run hitter on any play. He has one of the fastest, speedy running backs in this class. He has one of the best top speeds, and he was able to show that off in the 40 with him running a 4.32. And anywhere he gets the ball, he's able to go and make a home run play. And I think a team is going to take a chance on him in that fourth round area just based on his speed. He could be like somebody like a Dree Archer from a couple of years ago that ends up kind of, going to the Steelers, and he's used kind of just as that speedy kick return type guy and kind of spots on offense. That's the biggest question with him and why he might fall a little bit into the later rounds is because teams are kind of concerned with his size and his ability to kind of maintain himself with that size that he has with not being very big. That is he going to be an every down back that can come out and toke the rock 20 something times a game, 15 times a game? Because of his size, he may not be able to withstand the NFL hits over and over and over again every play. He might be more of that gadget type guy that you take a chance on, maybe in the fifth or sixth round. Maybe a Sean Payton from the Broncos ends up taking him to be kind of like a gadget guy just because of his high speed and his high motor that he has. And with him being able to run a 4.3 and him being that speedy home run type of guy, he's going to be more of a, gadget type guy that you're going to move around, send in motion, and just kind of be able to try to get the ball in his hands where he can make a guy miss and just pretty much go the distance. Okay, so moving on to receivers, the fourth guy that I think was the biggest winner was Matthew Golden, Texas receiver. He's been kind of seen as a late first round pick. I think he definitely solidified himself as a first round pick. Some mocks even had him falling out of the second round. The receiver class is definitely different this year, with a lot of mocks having Tetero McMillan falling now. And it really just depends how a lot of teams value and see these receivers because every single receiver and every single team are going to have these receivers ranked differently. Some people have been talking about Emeka Egbuka being the number one ranked receiver now, and kind of Tetero McMillan losing value over the last couple of days. I think that he's more of a top 20 guy, so he's going to go in those 20 areas, and he's kind of guaranteed himself from his combine performance to be able to go in the first round. In that kind of mid first round to kind of the 20s. He only participated in the 40-yard dash, and he was the closest that anybody really got to breaking Xavier Worthy's record. He ran a 4.29. He did the opposite of Isaiah Bond. Isaiah Bond definitely, in my opinion, hurt his draft stock a lot because he was talking a lot about going out and breaking the record, and it wasn't even close. He ran like a 4.41. Matthew Golden was kind of the opposite. He came out with blazing speed and ran that 4.29, and then he didn't run it again the second time because he was able to go out and put out such a good time and was happy with his 40-yard dash. But this is another guy that kind of just reassured what everybody's seen on tape. He was kind of seen originally right after the season as like a second, third round pick. And after everybody's kind of watched his tape and seen what he did in the college football playoffs, he was kind of able to rise up and he's kind of seen as this late first round pick. And he was just kind of able to solidify himself to be able to keep where he's at right now, move up just a little bit, maybe into the early 20s. I think somebody like maybe the Packers could shock somebody and take Matthew Golden. And obviously, if he falls to the Houston Texans, they're going to end up taking him. But with him being able to have big playability, you've seen it at Texas all the time. Whenever the Texas needed a big play late in the season this past year, they went to Matthew Golden every single time. And Matthew Golden was the one that came up with those huge plays to even keep their season alive that we've seen against Arizona State at the end of the year in that first round of the college football playoffs. He was able to come up with that big ball to pretty much put them in the lead, to pretty much put the dagger in Arizona State as they went into overtime. He was able to keep just chewing and doing what he was doing. So a lot of people are going to see those big playabilities, and whenever teams need a play, Matthew Golden is going to be that type of guy to be able to come in and make that play that team needs. Moving on to another receiver that I think had a big day was Dante Thornton. He was a fifth round pick, and now he's kind of in that fourth round area. I do think a team could end up taking him in the third round. He didn't have the best vertical. He only had a 33-inch vertical, but he ran a 4.3, and he had blazing speed today at the combine. His broad jump was a 10.6. What really gets him is his size and his length. He's a 6'5" receiver, and he ran a 4.3. Every team is going to see that and have him on their radar in these mid rounds whenever they go into draft into the day two, and if he's still available in day three. With his size and his speed that he has, most teams are going to take a flyer on him just in case and just to try to get their hands on him to be able to be a number two receiver for that first couple of years and then maybe even develop into that number one guy. Being 6'5" and 4'3", that's kind of what we've seen out of Tetairoa McMillan. And kind of what we think Tetairoa McMillan can be, kind of that Mike Evans type build with that huge body, huge length, and be able to use his speed. At Tennessee, you were able to see it at times. He needs to be more consistent to be a better NFL wide receiver. He didn't really always show the consistency in the SEC at Tennessee, but with him just having the measurables that he does at 6'5" and be able to show his route running ability in a lot of those drills and be able to catch the ball the way he did, and to be able to combine that with his 4.3 speed, he's definitely going to rise up some people's boards from the fifth round that he was kind of projected to be at. And teams are going to see it and be like, all right, well, we need to take a chance on this guy because I've never seen an athletic freak like this to have that size and that speed. So I think a lot of rumors is. I think Caleb Williams posted him on Twitter, so maybe like the Bears or somebody could be able to add to him, and they could move on with Rome Odunze and Dante Thornton on that offense with Ben Johnson wanting to look at weapons. They took Amon Ra in the third or fourth round a couple of years ago, so that could be kind of what they're looking at in this situation. So I think he would be a good fit there, and it's really just the combination of everything the scouts are going to see to want to take a chance on him and be able to get him in that fourth, third round area. And then the last guy we're looking at, this one's going to be a weird one because a lot of the quarterbacks didn't really show out. If there was a quarterback, I would probably say Quentin Ewers, but I think that Cam Ward is the biggest riser out of all the quarterbacks from day three of the NFL Combine. It's going to sound weird because he did not go out and do any drills. He didn't throw. He didn't do anything. He just kind of sat around and he did meetings. But at the Combine, one of the most important aspects of it is the meetings with the teams. And a lot of the reports that we're hearing is that he went out and he aced all the meetings from everybody from all the teams that he had. And he's definitely seen as the top guy in this class. And he's seen as the number one quarterback by a mile. All the reports from Ian Rappaport and people like that with inside sources of how the meetings went, he's definitely seen way ahead of everyone else of all the quarterbacks and seen way ahead of Shedeur Sanders, and Shedeur Sanders isn't even close to him. He was kind of seeing that a lot of the latest reports recently was that he could end up going and falling a little bit in the top 10. And it really just depended on how the Titans viewed him, and if the Titans were gonna want to take maybe somebody like a Abdul Carter at number one, or were they wanting to trade out of the first round pick. I think no matter what, if the Titans stay and take the pick at number one, or if they end up trading out, I think Cam Ward is gonna be the first pick, and he's kind of locked himself into that and guaranteed that he's gonna be the number one pick, no matter what team is picking, whether it's the Titans or the Titans trade out. And maybe the Giants try to move up to number one from number three to be able to get Cam Ward. Maybe the Browns end up trying to trade up one spot to secure their quarterback to kind of take over from Deshaun Watson. Maybe the Jets or the Saints try to move up from picks number 7 and 9, which would take a whole lot. And I don't necessarily see that happening. I think it would be more the Giants or the Browns to be able to trade up to take Cam Ward if the Titans do want to trade out. But that could eventually happen, but they would have to give up so much. So I think no matter what team is picking, Cam Ward is going to be the first overall pick in this draft, no matter if it's traded or what. It's just from all the meetings that they had and all the reports that are coming out from these meetings that he is the solidified number one quarterback by a mile on a lot of these teams' boards. So please make sure to like the video, comment down below anything you agreed or disagreed with that I talked about, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for future NFL content that I'm going to be putting out. And thanks for watching.
Yeah, feel like John Moran. Need a triple-double. Told him check the stats. Yeah, I got a couple. I don't drop the ball. Now I never fumble. I'm the MVP. Now I feel like Russell. Feel like John Moran. Need a triple-double. Told him check the stats. Yeah,